ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ सेवेंथ मंत्र नान्तःप्रज्ञं न बहिष्प्रज्ञं न उभयतःप्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञानघनं न प्रज्ञं नाप्रज्ञम् अदृष्टम् अव्यवहार्यम् अग्राह्यमलक्षणम् अचिन्त्यम् अव्यपदेशम् एकात्मप्रत्ययसारं प्रपञ्चोपशमं शान्तं शिवमद्वैतं चतुर्थं मन्यन्ते स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः. Bhashyakara says on page 54, Saha Atma Vigneya iti Pratiyamana, in the first line itself, Bhashyam. प्रतीयमान सर्प भू छिद्र दंडादि व्यतिरिक्ता यथा रज्जुः तथा तत्त्वमसि इत्यादि वाक्यार्थः आत्मा अदृष्टो दृष्टा नहि द्रष्टुः दृष्टेः विपरिलोपो विद्यते इत्यादिभिः उक्तः यः यः आत्मा सः विज्ञेयः इति भूतपूर्वगत्या ज्ञाते द्वैत अभावः. So Atma Vigneyaha. This Atma which is this, Yaha. Yaha Adrashto Drashta. Yaha Tattvamasi Ityadi Vakyarthaha. Saha Atma Vigneyaha. Etc. etc. So this Atma should be known. And that Atma has been already described in 7th mantra. And that is नान्तःप्रज्ञं न बहिष्प्रज्ञं न उभयतःप्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञं नाप्रज्ञं तुरीयम. That's a neuter. नान्तःप्रज्ञं. Atma is नान्तःप्रज्ञं. It's not a dreamer, etc. etc. But that is all neuter. नान्तःप्रज्ञं न बहिष्प्रज्ञं न उभयतःप्रज्ञं. So why neuter? Because turiyam. Turiyam is a neuter word. That turiyam is Atma. That turiyam is Atma. And so, turiya Atma, so turiyam Atma bhavati. So this Atma which, therefore, the turiya which is, the Shastra has an intention to understand that turiya is the very self. And therefore, quietly it changes even lingam. So, Nanta Pragnam, etc., etc., then it says Saha Atma. So, therefore, these things we have to understand. In a sentence, there is something called Uddeshya and there is something called Videya. Videya means, basically that is which is to be known. Uddeshya is which is described. What is description is something which is to be known. And so, if Shastra has that intention that this Turiya don't know, I mean, don't take this knowledge of Turiya as some like knowing any other thing in this world. That Turiya happens to be the Atma. So, in order to show the predominance of knowing the Turiya as identical to the Atma, well, it quietly changes the lingam. That's where happening even in the Chandogya also. Same thing. Sadeva somedamagra asit ekam eva advitiyam sat. Neuter. But then immediately Uddalaka changes. Sa atma tattvamasi iti, right? Sa atma. Therefore, saha. Oh, saha means that. That means which is sat. It should be told tat because that's a neuter. No. Sahatma means that Sat, which is the cause of the world, may you understand, is the very self. Self is the cause. Wow, I am the cause? Yeah, you are the cause of the creation. That way it should be known. That's the thing. And therefore, this is called a Videya Pradhanam. Videya means what is to be known. There is a predominance of that. For that purpose, even if it is what is to be known, really speaking, is suppose whatever the linga may be, the Shastra quietly changes the lingam to show the predominance of that subject matter which is to be known. So, Vidhe Pradhanye Pullinga. Could you follow what I am saying? So, it introduces like this. Here also Turiyam has been introduced, of course. But they don't know, may you not know the Turiya as just Turiya. Oh, that is Turiya. No, that Turiya is you. Anyway, so that is how it is Saha Atma, Vigneya, etc., etc. Anyway. And Shankaracharya ji is commenting about in my mind, Sureshwaracharya ji keeps moving because of Nishkalma Siddhi anyway. So this Shankaracharya ji basically is commenting upon this final part of the seventh mantra, and that is a definition of Turiya. And if you look at definition, the first sentence is revealing Turiyam and is different from Vishwataisa Prajna as a Nanta Prajnam, etc. So it's a distinct from Turiya is something which is different from this Vakar, etc. So this is how. So all these three, Vishwataisa Prajna, are Pramata, or the knower. And by saying Turiya is different from them, then the Upanishad says Turiya is Pramatru Vilakshana. So it's a different from, or if you want to say Pramata, Turiya is a knower. May you keep it, yeah, but add, yeah. So it's a witness consciousness which doesn't undergo any change, which is the experience of everyone. Right, which is the experience of everyone. What undergoes change belongs to Upadhi. What does not undergo change even in your experience is you. That's you. That's a reality because it doesn't undergo change. What undergoes change is Ahankara. I am a conscious being will never undergo change. That will never go. I am a conscious being never goes. I am a child. Fine, but you are a conscious being. I am a youth, young adult. You are a conscious being. So, the childhood has gone, therefore it belongs to the Upadhi. Yeah. But I am child, yeah, that's fine. Same Atma, well, through identification, say I am a child. That's Ahankara. But if that is not you, because that has gone. That comes in time, goes in time. What comes and goes, well, that's not you. What never comes and goes, what always is, that's you. And that is this consciousness. I'm conscious being, I'm conscious being, I'm conscious being, I'm conscious being. I'm a waker, okay, but you are a conscious being. I'm a dreamer, yes, but you are a conscious being. I'm a deep sleeper, yes, you are a conscious being. That will never go. I and consciousness is one and the same. One cannot know consciousness without I. There is no I without consciousness. And therefore that is to be known. Ahankara is limited. This conscious being is free from any limitations, basically. Therefore, it is limitless, and therefore, we will say ultimately that consciousness is the being, ultimately, that never goes and never comes, that is the being. All other gain the beingness from this consciousness, right? That is Satchit. Anyway, so this is the first part of mantra which says Atma, Turiya, of course Atma, is Pramatru Vilakshana. And then second part, of course, of the mantra, Adrishtam, Avyavarim, etc., etc., right? Avyapadesham, etc. Well, that says Atma is different from, distinct from, basically, the Prameya also. Atma cannot be known that way. Pramana agocharam. So, alakshanam, anumana pramana agocharam. Pratyaksha pramana agocharam is agrahyam and adrishtam, etc. Yes, Atma cannot be known. So, prameya vilakshanam. Nanta pragnam, etc., pramatru vilakshanam. And avyapadesham, etc. Well, ultimately, shabda pramana agocharam. Anyway, so sarva pramana agocharam, therefore aprameyam or prameya vilakshanam. And then, so Atma is not a subject, Atma is not an object. Then who is subject object? Atma is the subject and object. But Atma is what? Distinct from subject object. I am asking you, who is subject object? Atma is subject object. I am asking you, what is Atma? Atma is distinct from subject object. Okay? This is what it is. Yeah. This is how you should know. This is how you should know. This is all glory of Atma. That Atma is everything ultimately. The very word subject object has come due to ignorance. That's what Bhashyakara says in Taittiriya. Word anatma has come due to avidya. There is, all that is there is Atma. That's what Shastra says. Then but Shastra only will introduce Atma and Atma Viveka. But because that's due to ignorance of the Jiva. And therefore ultimately word anatma etc. is also avidya krita. Anyway, so this is over. You are basically distinct from subject and object. Subject object cannot be away from you. Subject object, so-called subject object, basically is just a superimposition. When a given thing is in and through all over another thing, if A is in and through all over B, and yet A is distinct from B, then B is superimposed upon A. B is called a superimposition upon A. Right? That's how we have to take it. And then third part is, prapanchopashamam. Prapanchopashamam. So when you say Turiyam is different from this Pramata and Prameyam, well, definitely in our mind error occurs. And that error is, okay, Atma is distinct from Pramata and Prameya, distinct from subject and object. So there is subject object also, and there is Atma also. Atma is distinct from them, but they are also there. No. Prapanchopashamam. Prapancha, which is nothing but subject and object, that is not there at all. There is no subject object, etc. So prapanchopashamam, prapancharahitam. So not only pramatu prameya vilakshanam, it is actually pramatru prameya rahitam. When you know the Turiya, you say all that is there is Turiya. Right? All that is there is you. When you know Turiya as yourself, what you will say? All that is there is I alone. All that is there is Ishvara. If you add all names and forms, well, you can say Ishvara. Or all that is there is Brahman. All that is there is I. That's how Shastra is all. Brahmava idamagra asit, Sadeva sumidamagra asit, Atmavare idamagra asit in Aitareya. So anyway, so this is how we have to understand Prapanchopashamam, etc. also. And then ekatma pratyaya saram. Saram means, well, basically Bhashyakara said pramanam. Pramanam is a clue. So inherent that self-awareness is the clue to the ekatma pratyaya saram. The self-awareness is to claim that turiya, and then later words also are the description for that. Then Shantam, Shivam, Advaitam, Chaturtham, Manyante, all we saw. And so basically, so the whole mantra is the first part, Pramatru Vilakshanam, second part, Prame Vilakshanam, then Prapanchopashamam, Pramatru Prame Rahitam, and then Ekatma Pratyaya Saram is this fourth crucial part. And there, definitely that is, that self-awareness alone is this turiya. And so, well, that is Ekatma Pratyaya Saram. And then last part is Turiyam is Shantam, Shivam, Advaitam, Chaturtham, Manyante. Consider it to be four. Manyante. You take it as a fourth. But then you said Advaitam, and why do you say fourth? Well, that we have discussed. Maya Sankhya Turiyam. That is what Bhashyakara said even in the beginning portion. Doing a Mangalacharanam of the Bhashyam on the Mandukya Upanisad, he has composed two verses. And that, Mangalacharanam, well, basically has been of three types. Either you do Guru Vandana, either you remember your Guru and you compose a verse asking the grace of the Guru, and then start your work of composing the entire Bhashyam or book or anything. Mangalacharanam is necessary so that you can complete the work without any obstacle. Not only that, that work should reach to the people so that they will be benefited, etc. That is also there in that. For that purpose, they always write Mangalacharanam. So that is Guru Vandana. Second is a Ishwar. You remember Ishwar. Ishwara Anusandhanam, they call it. Anusandhanam. So you meditate on Ishvara, or you just remember Ishvara and write. And third is a Tattva Anusandhanam. What is a Tattva? Brahma or Atma, etc. So that is, here it is that. And therefore Bhashyakara says, Maya Sankhya Turiyam Param Amrutam Ajam Brahmam Yattan Natosmi, etc. He says that. Maya Sankhya Turiyam. So, all this Sankhya, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., that fourth, Chaturtham, is Maya Sankhya Turiyam. So, so when you are counting this Turiya from the standpoint of this Mithya, Vishaya, Mithya, Vishwa, Mithya, Taijasa, etc., it is called Turiyam. There are not really speaking 1, 2, 3. Where without this, there are 1, 2, 3, and without Turiya. Therefore, Turiya pervades all the three. And Turiya is quite distinct from all the three, naturally, in terms of reality. And therefore, all these three are superimposed upon Turiya. Therefore, we say it is fourth, being Adhishthanam. Well, we say it's fourth, but really it is not that all four have an equal order of reality. Generally, when we count, it is an equal order of reality. Like 4 apples, means each apple is equally real. Right? 4 people, yeah. But 4 Muktatmas cannot be there. One is right, other 3 are basically reflections, right? And therefore, so there are, Swamiji, there are 4 Muktatmas that's taking a Zoom classes. No, that won't be. So, okay, and therefore one is right, other 3 reflections. Swamiji, you are also speaking, and in Zoom also some Muktatma Swami is speaking. and everyone is in Zoom. So that everyone have my reflection. Oh, there are 8 Swamis or 10 Swamis or whatever. Only one. Could you follow? So 1 plus 9, that is Maya Sankhya. This is called Maya Sankhya. Mithya Sankhya. Turiyam. So, Vishwa is Turiyam, Prajna is Turiyam, and our Taijasa is Turiyam, and Turiyam is Turiyam. Therefore, so it cannot be... therefore, Chaturtham Manyante, just consider as a fourth. Really speaking, is one alone. And Sa Atma Sa Vigneya, so that's last part. And in that, Bhashyakara says, Sa Atma Vigneya means this Atma should be known. I mean, the Turiya, which we described like this earlier, is to be understood as a Atma. And Bhashyakara said, Pratiyamana sarva bhuchidra dandadi vyatirikta rajju yatha sarva bhuchidradi dandadinam Atma bhavati. We have to supply that. So in that, the rope which is different from the snake, streak of water, etc. And same way, well, this Turiya also is distinct from Vishwatejasa Prajna, and means the truth of all these three is Atma alone. And Sa Atma, and Sa Atma, but Bhashyakara says, Yaha Tattvamsyadi Vakyarthaha, Saha Atma, etc. Yaha Atma Adrashto Drashta, etc. Saha Vigneya, etc. So he tells, Saha Atma means that is the Atma, well, which is Turiya, and that is, Bhashyakara quotes a Shruti for that, how it is Turiya, etc. So yaha tattvamasya vakyartha, so which is revealed by the Mahavakya in the Chandogya. And we saw this, just so I am referring. And then adrashto drashta, nahi drashtuhu drashtehe vipariloko vidyate, etc. ityadi bihi uktaha. It's also revealed in a Brihadaranyaka, and Bhashyakara quotes two here things. I am from one from Swayam Jyotir Brahmana. Another is Antaryami Brahmana. This nahi drashtuhu drashtehe viprilopo vidyate, nahi vignatuhu vignatehe viprilopo vidyate, etc. is in a Swayam Jyotir Brahmana. And the adrashto drashta, etc. is in Antaryami Brahmana. So here it is adrashto drashta, that also we discussed. Nahi vignatuhu vignatehe viparilopo vidyate, that also we discussed. Adrashto drashta. Adrashto drashta means which cannot be experienced, which cannot be known, but which is ever a knower, without which there cannot be any experience possible, but which is not available for any experience. Nirvikara drashta, etc. And nahi drashtahu drashtehe viparilopo vidyate, that also we discussed. Turiya Atma is this consciousness, which is described as we can say permanent consciousness, etc. Which is eternal word also is not really speaking a true thing for the word, for nitya, etc. So it says here drashtuhu drashtehe viparilopo vidyate. So the consciousness of this knower never ceases to be. So it indicates a nityatva of the consciousness Atma or a Turiya. And the translation we generally do for nitya is eternal, but which is really not true translation, in as much as eternal means which is there in all the three periods of time. We can't say for consciousness like that. Consciousness is something which is in all the three periods of time. Still you say in time, in three periods of time. But the time exists in consciousness. And therefore you say you exist, the consciousness exists in three periods of time. It doesn't look good. And therefore the best translation for nitya is a timeless. When you know yourself as a consciousness, then where is time? Where is time? All that is mithya. It's part of creation. When the time is there, you are very much there to pervade the time. When time is not there, you are there. Therefore, really speaking, you are timeless consciousness. Okay? And therefore, that's your own experience. No one can deny. So, timelessness of the consciousness, not you existing in three periods of time. That's not fair. And therefore, Pujya Swamiji has said at one point that for word nitya, which very comes often, word for Atma is nitya, we should take it as this which is timeless. And then nahi vignatuhu vignatehe viparilopo vidyate, well, the same idea is, the consciousness never ceases to be. The knowerhood, the drashta, So consciousness of the knower never ceases to be. It is, Shruti doesn't say knower never ceases to be, right? And therefore we should understand knower ceases to be. It's a incidental. It just arises in consciousness and resolves in consciousness, because the truth of the knower, the truth of the I thought, is what pervades the I thought is consciousness. That's how I thought is known. Aham also is known because of that. Only problem is I. When you say word I, two things are, it's a mixture. Both the things are there. You, the witness consciousness is there, whose existence is proven independently, without any pramana, because you are consciousness and therefore you shine. You are revealed. So you have your experience, you can say, let's say, you have your experience all the time. Without your experience, where is other experience? Means you are all the time there. And also, I thought is experienced in that. I thought is revealed and experienced. And therefore, that is mind. So when you say I, both are there. And you cannot distinguish, because you are consciousness and even mind is also consciousness. Conscious mind is there, which has I thought. And therefore, definitely, when you say I, both are there. But one is self-revealing, other is revealed in self-revealing consciousness. That is mind. And therefore, one has to do a viveka, basically. That's how in a waking state I say I, right? So when you say I, definitely it's a waker. I thought the ahankara is there, and but that cannot be without consciousness, and so sakshi also is there, and both shine in that word I or thought I. Both are there. You have to do viveka. That one is changing naturally. That ahankara undergoes a change. So even though when you say right now aham, and then you add whatever you want to add, that you add as just a ahankara. So right now you say I am a listener, right? And then you say, well, I was a, or you already had a knowledge also that I was eating breakfast. So I was a eater. And then I may be walker, runner, etc., whatever. Or maybe seer, talker. So, well, definitely whenever you use word I in a waking state, so this, what undergoes a change is this mind, and what never undergoes a change is this consciousness, which is all the time, which pervades all this ahankara. And therefore in aham both the things shine. What is experienced, what is revealed also shines, and the very revealer shines definitely. It is self-shining. Both the things are there. So this knowerhood of the knower definitely ends. But the consciousness of the knower never ends, because that's the reality, that's the truth of the knower. Saha Atma, well, ityadibhihi uktaha, means what has been revealed in these Shrutis, uktaha, that is a turiya. That has been, what has been revealed there, it is turiya. Then comes a problem. That, well, after defining turiya as a different from pramata and prameya, and now Upanishad says that turiya has to be known, vigneya, saha atma, that turiya is the atma. May you know like that. So, well, then earlier you said it is distinct from the knower and known and everything, and also avyavaryam. It is not available for a transaction. It is a transaction in terms of a knowing, no, jnana vyavara. Not even kriya vyavara, but jnana vyavara also it is not possible, because it is neither a knower, it is neither a known. It's not an object, it's not a subject. And therefore, where is the question of a transaction, knowing transaction? No. And now you say Atma Vigneya. Now that Turiya is to be known as the Atma. Then how will I know? You say it is, you cannot know it also. And now you say it should be known as Atma. So, well, so unknowable Turiyam should be known. That kind of a thing it is. So that is, well, Shankaracharya ji has to clarify this contradiction. And therefore, so Bhashyakara says, Bhuta Purva Gatya. He has added this thing. Means Bhutapurva Gatya means while talking in these six mantras, right? At that time, it was all Adhyaropa, because that is how it has been said that this may you know this, the waker and the waking world, etc., is the very as the Prathama Pada of the Atma. Means basically, Atma is distinct from the waker. Atma pervades the waker. At the same time, Atma is distinct from the waker. And therefore, while doing Adhyaropa, definitely it is to be known, Atma is to be known as Turiya has been told. That's how six mantras describe. Soyam Atma Chatushpad. And then started discussion for the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. And then ultimately this Turiya. So basically Atma is to be known distinct from these three. That has been clearly said. So Bhashyakara says Bhutpurvagatya means while doing superimposition for the Ajnanis naturally. Because Ajnanis definitely take oneself, I as the very waker or I as a dreamer, etc. For them there is no other reality. But it is Adhyaropa actually. And therefore, there it is what has been so told that Atma is to be known as distinct from all the three. That is very much correct. And therefore, while keeping that thing in mind, here it has been said, Saha Atma Vigneya. That Atma is not a waker, not a dreamer, not etc. Nanta pragnam, na Vaishpragnam, na Ubhayata pragnam, etc. So Adhyaropa Kala, well, this is when Adhyaropa is already done, when identify oneself as the waker, etc., then it is to be told that Atma is to be known as a distinct from all the three. Therefore, it is okay. And then once it is known, Apavada has been done, then definitely Atma is a distinct from subject and object both. There is no subjecthood or a objecthood here. So Apavada Kale Vignatru Vigneya Pramatru Prameya Vilakshana. Whereas in Adhyaropa, well, definitely it is to be known as a distinct from all the three. Whereas once you say I am a Turiya, then well, there is a question of that I am a knower or I am something which is to be known. There is no question. So for that only, for the people who have done this Viveka and had become free from this Adhyaropa, they have to own it up. Could you follow? They have to own it up, because that you cannot get rid of also. What is left is this consciousness. Turiya means what is there is just consciousness. So may you own it up that you are just pure consciousness, which is limitless, which is timeless, right? That is to be understood. So, Bhutapurva Gatya, Bhashyakara says, means while people have, whoever comes to the Upanishad or the teaching, Pramana, exposed to Pramana, already has done Adhyaropa. Therefore, for them, Shruti has to say, no, you are not the waker, you are distinct from the waker, you are Turiya, etc., not the dreamer, not this. So that is fine. Sahatma Vigneha, it is to be known. So it is like an object of knowledge. That's for those people. But once you know that you are Turiya, where is the question of a knower and known and etc. So Jnate Dvaita Abhava. Once it is known, then there is a Dvaitam called knower, known, etc. I am a knower and Turiya is to be known. No. It has gone. You have to simply own it up. Please understand this. You have to simply own it up, because there is no pramana also to reveal. There is no pramana to reveal. Every pramana also has gone actually. What is left is just consciousness. May you own it up that you are limitless consciousness. Please understand my word. Please own it up. Don't try to make again an object of your some thought, etc., Turiya or this Atma or Brahman or limitless consciousness. Let me objectify. More you do, more you will be frustrated. So, after negation, because then being self-shining, it is not to be revealed. Being self-revealing, it is not to be revealed by some vritti or by any other pramana. By vritti, generally it is. No. So, Jnana vritti is meant to remove adhyaropa, which is born of ignorance. So that is the Jnanavritti's job, to get rid of ignorance and what is born of ignorance. That's it, nothing more than that. And understanding them as a apavada, understanding them as a mithyaradhanan. So that's called apavada. Anyway, so from the standpoint of the initial students, the people who are ignorant and get exposed to, for them it is to be told that this turiya, may you know yourself as a turiya. So it has been told by the Shastra as though it's an object of knowledge for you, because he has already identified himself as a waker, etc. So that's how Nanta Pragnam, Na Bahish Pragnam, etc. is, and Atma is to be known as Turiya, etc., is very much correct. So Bhashyakara says Bhut Purvagatya. Well, person has done a superimposition, for them that is true. But once you know Jnate, well, there is no question of a knower. I am a knower of Turiya, and that Turiya is to be known, etc. There is not a question. Jnate means apavadakali. So Jnate Sati, it's a Sati Saptami. So Jnate Sati, Dvaita Abhava. There is no question of subject-object duality, knower-known duality. In fact, you know Turiya is free from knower and known. I am neither a knower nor a known. So it's a relationship between I and Turiya is what? Abheda Sambandha. A relationship in which both are one and the same. No other Sambandha is possible. Two words are there, but two entities are not there. Atma and Turiya, I and Turiya, just words are there. So with this, the seventh mantra is over. And how it is over? I am Turiya. Look at that. So Atma Chatushpat. So that pratigna has been done by the Shastra. That is completed. Chaturtham. So the fourth pada is this Turiya, which is actually fourth as the fourth. And I told you that's Turiyam, etc., which of course this is part of a grammar only. So Turiya is the subject, and all other things for which has been described, Anta Pragnam, etc., Bahish Pragnam and all that. Of course, Nanta Pragnam. So all these basically are, they are subjective complements. Like, Ramaha, Viraha Bhavati. Rama is a subject. And Viraha is called subjective complement, etc. Same way here, Turiya is the subject, and Antapragnam, etc., what has been discussed, Bahish Pragnam, etc., Na Antapragnam, etc., is all a subjective complement. And Bhashak and Shruti quietly changed the lingam, which I have already talked to you, to Pullinga, because there is a vivaksha on the part of Shruti that may you know this Turiya is the very I, Atma. I, the Atma, that is Pullinga, and therefore it quietly changed the lingam also. So for that, now the seventh mantra is over. For the first 6 mantras, after that also there were some few karikas, some 9 verses Gaudapadacharya has written. I'm not talking of Bhashyam, just verses. So on the six mantras, Gaudapadacharya has commented in 9 verses, were called 9 karikas. Now on the 7th mantra also, Gaudapadacharya has written few verses, and that is 8 verses, and that is 10 to 18. So that we have to see now. Bhashyam is there for all, but Gaudapadacharya his commentary is in form of the verses. So earlier it was 9 verses for the 6 mantras, and now 8 verses for the 7th mantra he has written. So you can see here, Atra ete shlokaha bhavanti, and then you will find Gaudapadiya shlokaha, composed by Gaudapadacharya. Let's read that. Nivrutte sarva dukkhanam ईशानः प्रभुरव्ययः अद्वैतः सर्वभावानां देवस्तुर्यो विभुस्मृतः. सो अत्र एते श्लोकाः भवन्ति. अत्र अस्मिन् अर्थे, इट्स् अ विषय सप्तमी, अस्मिन् अर्थे, well means with reference to this teaching of the seventh mantra. Well, these are my commentaries, or these are the commentary of the Gaudapada Acharya ji in 8 verses, maybe 9 verses, 10 to 18. So anyway, and so here says sarva dukkhanam. We'll go to Bhashyam. Before that, we'll just see sarva dukkhanam nivrittehe. So sarva dukkhanam nivrittehe. Nivrittehe, that is the 5th case. Nivritti word is there, and nivrittehe, it's a 5th case, 5 by 1. So it's a hetvartha panchami. Generally panchami is in the sense of a hetu, reason. So Gaudapada Acharya ji says this turiya is free from sarva dukkhanam nivrittehe, and this ishanah, etc., that will come. So turiya is basically free from all afflictions, free from all pains, sarva dukkhanam. All pains belongs to womb. You cannot deny pain, but pain belongs to something else which you have identified with. That's it. If pain really does not belong, you are really free from the pain, free from the sorrow, free from the limitations, free from the fear. That's all. Free from insecurity. You are already free from that. Well, then, but I do have a fear, and all these things are there. I feel sorrow also. These are all our experiences of the humanity. So then they belong to whom? Well, they belong to pramata and prameya, etc., etc., and their interactions. So that interaction between knower and known, well, ultimately results into pain. So this is how they always say. See, this is life actually. What is the goal of life? A very big question, in always very serious. When person asks this question, he is very serious, and he looks around also after asking question. He feels that he has asked a very big question, and goal of life. What is the goal of life? A goal of life is to live. You are a living being. A living being has to live, or lives. And what is living? Well, living is to relate to the world. That's the difference. That's the difference between living and alive, to be alive. Yeah. When person is just alive, we never say he is living a life. When he is in coma, you are in a deep sleep state, or a person is in a hospital in a coma. They are not living life. They are alive. Living a life means right now. Right? You are relating to the world. And that is, in relating to the world, stress is inevitable. Stress is inevitable. That's what dukkha, stress. And why there is stress? You say living is a goal of life, and living is relating, and relating creates a stress. Then this is ultimately the goal of life is to create stress. No. If you strike a harmony, I would say only in one line. There are all causes are there. If you strike a harmony in relationship, well, there is no stress. Striking a harmony is the goal. Striking a harmony is to be aware of the realities first. You should be aware of the realities, and then striking the harmony. Living a life in keeping with that reality, okay? That will be striking a harmony. How to strike a harmony? Well, understand the realities and live up to that realities. That's it. But that is very difficult, Swamiji. But that is how it is. Physical growth is not a big deal. you keep eating food and one day you find that you are mature physically. That's not a big deal. Big deal is the later part, and that is emotional adulthood. That's where, that's called maturity. And that occurs in striking harmony in relationship. Yeah. Relating to a sentient being, relating to insentient being, I'm talking, huh? Yeah. Both the ways we have a stress. Not that all the time I relate to another person and I have a stress. You relate to even inert things. Yeah. You have a stress. Many, many reasons are there. But point is ultimately relating to the world, in short. And to strike a harmony, you should be aware of what is world. First, to be aware of. If you be aware of, then you know how to relate to the world. And if you are aware of how to relate to the world, well, ultimately you will definitely end up in striking a harmony with the world. In process, you become emotionally mature also. Any growth is painful, that is there, even in a physical maturity also. If you really want to grow big, then you will have to join gyms and everything, and there is a pain, lot of pain. Yeah, in emotional pain also, there is a pain. In emotional growth also, there is a pain. But there is no gain without pain. Yeah, and therefore, ultimately, one has to strike harmony to live a beautiful life. One who is emotionally immature means who doesn't know how to relate to the world. Please understand. Emotional person, immature person has all complaints for the world. One who is complaining all the time is an emotionally immature person. Why he is complaining? He doesn't know how to strike a harmony with the world. That is there. So, anyway, ultimately emotionally mature person is this Jnani. And anyway, so he knows all that is there is oneself. For him there is no Dvaitam at all. Right? There is no fear from the world and there is no stress from the world, etc. There is no source of insecurity in the world. For him there is no source of unhappiness also in the world. Anyway, so this is Pramata and Prameya. Once you take yourself as a Pramata, a knower, individual, and Prameya is different from you, the world, etc., then there will be a Dukkham all the time. And therefore, Bhashak, here, Gaudapada Acharya is Sarva Dukkhanam Nivrittehe. Well, so this is a commentary on what? If Pramata, etc., is a source of Dukkham, means Pramata Prameyam, for Pramata Prameyam becomes a source of Dukkham, and Pramata himself is being self-aware, will be taking oneself as a limited being, also has a lot of Dukkham. Therefore, basically, what a brilliant commentary. This much part. Sarva Dukkhanam Nivrittehe is a commentary on 7th mantra up to Prapanchopashamam. Nanta Prajnam, na Bahish Prajnam, na Ubhayata Prajnam, na Prajnam, na Prajnam is a Pramata Nisheda. Right, I told you. And then Adrishtam, Avyavariyam, Agrahyam, Alakshanam, etc., is a Prameya Vilakshanam, has been told. Prapanchopashamam, ultimately, up to that. So, Sarva Dukkhanam Nivrittehe, Dukkha belongs to Pramata and Prameya, and Sarva Dukkhanam Turiya is a very, basically distinct from this Pramata and Prameya. Therefore, Turiya is a Hetu. Turiya, knowing Turiya, of course. Knowing Turiya is the Hetu for what? Sarva Dukkhanam Nivrittehe, ultimately. Just know yourself, that's enough. Nothing else. Never dukkha will come in your life. Never comes. If you know yourself. If you don't know yourself properly, means you take yourself to be different from what you are, dukkha will not live. Whatever you want to do, you do. Whatever you do. External arrangement, whatever you do, or you basically take anything from this world. in terms of money, power, etc. Pain in life will not go. Sorrow will not go. I always remember one sentence from Chandogya, a very $1 billion statement, Yad alpam, tan martyam, tad dukkhatmakam, yo vai bhuma, tat sukham. Yo vai bhuma, tat sukham. What is bhuma? What is Brahman? What is limitless? What is full is sukham. What is alpam? Well, that is martyam. It's time bound, dukkhatmakam. Therefore, if you take yourself as a pramata, you can never get rid of this sense of lack, sense of limitations. Whatever you acquire, that's not a thing. Whatever you acquire, the one who acquires is limited, plus what he acquires, he adds into his life, going to be limited. Limited plus limited can never be limitless. Limited plus limited plus limited plus limited plus limited. You may say limitless times, okay, but still it will be limited. Yeah. And that is the experience of everybody's life. Many people realize it, being smart guys, they realize faster. And some people never realize till the end. And they may realize at the end, but then Bhagavan says it's up now, okay? Better luck next time. Anyway, so this is what the thing is. So, look at that. Sarva dukkhanam nivrittehe turiyam. Nivrittehe, nivritti hetoho. Panchami. Turiya is the cause for sarva dukkhana. That has been described. Na antaprajna. Turiya is not antaprajna. Turiya is not a bahishprajna. Turiya is not this. What a commentary. So, sarva dukkhanam nivrittehe. Okay. Turiya is this. Okay. Then Ishanaha. Turiya is a master. Everyone wants to be master. Very good. Then Prabhu. So Turiya is actually Ishanam and Prabhu, very minute difference. So Turiya is a master, then Turiya is capable of being free from all this adhyasa also. Because Adhishthana Rupatvat definitely is capable of being free from all adhyasa, this waker, dreamer, etc., pramatutvam, etc. So nahi adhyastasya gunena doshena va anumatrena api sahana sampadyate. In Adhyas Bhashyam, Acharya has quoted, nahi adhyastasya gunena doshena va anumatram api. What is adhisthana can never be touched by what is adhyasa. And therefore this dukkha, etc., which is there in a pramatrutvam, etc., alpatvam, etc., is there in pramatrutvam, prameyatvam, etc., well, that is never touched to this turiya, which is limitless, which is full, which is purnam, advaitam. Shantam Shivam Advaitam. Advaitam is there is no second thing at all. All that is there is you. All that is there is you. You appreciate. If you don't appreciate, you are taking it as different from yourself. That's for sure. If you say there is space different from me, there is a time different from me, there is a mountain different from me, there is another person different from me, that's the thing. There is no difference at all outside, it is here. Kathopanishad very beautifully said that. There is no dvaitam at all, except in the buddhi of that ajnani. Dvaitam is here, not outside. All that is there is just one whole consciousness. And that is you. If you are not able to appreciate, you take yourself as a pramata and you take prameya as different from you. Dvaitam is in the buddhi. Anyway, so sarva, so prabhu, ishanaha prabhu avyaha, etc. Advaitaha sarva bhavanam devaha, etc. So anyway, this much part we will see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.